Hi there, welcome to a very important video on the Noah Presgrove case. What I'm sharing with you today could be considered a little bit disturbing when talking about the theme of partygoers, people of interest, how they've been in situations of possible danger and or threats. Whilst we've acknowledged it from Kaden Pressy's point of view several times now, is Kaden Pressy in danger? And at times it's come across that way and what Kaden has had to put up with. Now we're moving on to a different perspective and looking at a timeline with timestamps in regard to the party host, Avery Combs, the birthday girl at the time who had that house party. It makes them a marked target, of course, with them being the birthday girl hosting the party, and as others would say, responsible for the social hosting laws being broken. But let's just make it very clear, if Noah Presgrove never died, this so-called party which breaks social hosting laws and rules, no one would give a damn about it, just like previous parties beforehand. There might be the exception of some locals that did try reporting it beforehand. Credit to them in terms of them being consistent and sticking with what they stand by, but you can kind of understand where we're getting at. But who are the ones responsible in a way for putting Avery in a way in danger? And it actually links back to Noah Presgrove's family, more so one of the aunts known as Robin Smith. Today, I'm going to try and put it into perspective and do the best I can for and against arguments to understand it from Robin's point of view, their mindset at the time of what supposedly has been said, and the actions behind it. Can it be justified in any way? But then also look at it from Avery Combs' point of view as well. A bit, back and forth, because it can't just be one-sided, So I'm going to take my time today. I've got the screenshots, the proof and evidence material, which may have never been seen before, or at least not seen before by most people out there. I'm presenting to you today. Welcome to those watching the live premiere. Share your thoughts, opinions, reactions in the live chat box located on the right-hand side of the screen. And after watching this video, be sure to give me your conclusion and summary. Is it good? Should it happen? Is it a bad thing? Could it be understood in any way? And if you've got questions yourself, be sure to leave it down below under the video in the comment section, then I can respond back myself at a later point. If you are interested in other recent coverage on this case, looking at important topics and new findings, top right corner, I symbol, if you click there, you get the drop down box with the full playlist and loose videos as well. And if you do want to support this channel in a more practical alternative way, you will find a pinned message by me in the comment section under the video with additional links. One, to become a channel member, and then the main one, the PayPal link. Shout out to those in recent time that have supported my channel, for example, the super chats and super stickers. And yeah, the order of how we'll do it today, we're going to jump in with the screenshots, but I'm going to do it in the order of the timeline. And what I'm also bringing into today's discussion is Robin's outlook on the cause of death, the situation with Noah Presgrove, starting back really early on in 2023, then comparing, contrasting with an alternative time of what she had to say, and then trying to understand how that will link to the actions of putting Avery Combs in a way in danger. Of course, Robin Smith has the freedom of speech to respond back in the comment section or live chat if anything needs to be cleared up, if there needs to be any additional context provided, and a future update video can follow if necessary. But right now, let's just work with what we've got and brace yourself. The first screenshot from Facebook by Robin Smith herself was posted October 3rd, 2023, and she said at the time, 1 month roughly after Noah Presgrove's death, when it was still very raw, let's get one thing straight. This was not an accident. This was murder. This was not a hit and run. This was not a side-by-side wreck or rollover. this was pure cold-blooded murder. We've heard so many different stories, but we have yet to hear the truth, the whole truth, which we deserve. I know it's scary and I know it's hard, but we deserve to know what happened. Noah Presgrove deserves to have his story told. We will not stop searching and asking. We will not stop demanding. It will come out. So you can understand the outlook at the time when it's raw and fresh, when you haven't got as much information or knowledge, when the autopsy report wasn't even released back then, but you've heard about your son brutally, how they were found, the condition they were in, naked on a highway. You'd probably be thinking the worst, and taking in consideration Noah Presgrove was at a party around good people, friends, and then to end up the way he did, what the hell's going on there? And yeah, if stories were changing and all over the place at the time, it's kind of worrying in a way, because people will say, well, when it comes to Kaden Pressy and other people, that stories can be forgotten with time because of trauma, because of this and that. But we're talking as of 2024 onwards. This is 2023. This is kind of like just around a month after Noah Presgrove's death. And even back then in the early days when it came towards the family, the victim's family, partygoers giving different stories from what Robin says. So if you used to dial it back to in the early days when you would think a fresher recollection of thoughts and what was witnessed and what people know, if it's dysfunctional then, it's not going to get any better in the future likely. So it just goes to put it into perspective. But, let me know your reactions down below. Does it make sense? Do you understand from Robin's point of view way back then why she thought it was a murder? Cold-blooded murder. With that in mind, she did change her perspective and outlook. And I'm assuming that being the case, unless it happened before this. No date was given, but I've just added it here on the timeline because there is a contrast. When Robin Smith was communicating with Brooke Bounds Carter, I'm not too sure what page or group it was on. It does not give a time, date or year, whether this be 2024 or 2023. If anyone can fill in the context down below, that'll be much appreciated. Which one came first? Robin's comment here or this post by her October 3rd, 2023. It'd be interesting to know, of course. Here she believes it's cold-blooded murder. And here Robin Smith says to Brooke Bounds Carter, you're right. I don't believe that this was a vicious murder. To think that any of Noah Presgrove's friends would do that is unimaginable. What I do not appreciate is the lack of cooperation and the lying that has been going on, regardless of what happened. It makes people seem suspicious, as if they know the whole story and are trying to cover it. Evidence shows that Noah was not alone when this happened, and yet no one will tell us what exactly happened. Then Brooke says, okay, so we definitely agree on it not being a murder. So if there is evidence that he wasn't alone, maybe there was another kid there from the party, like another person, a stranger. Now, I think this is quite interesting. To put into perspective, Robin, in this particular post, at a different point in time, acknowledges that the story isn't clear enough and it feels like people may be lying or not telling the whole story. There's a breakdown in communication with just that. And also here, how it's been mentioned, we have yet to hear the truth, the whole truth. We've yet to hear about it, but we've heard lies along the way. So did this one come later? When it's raw and fresh in the moment, Robin Smith, yes, it's a murder. Some people could be responsible. Avery Combs somehow tied in it, or because of the drinking situation and the way Noah was. I'm not putting words into Robin Smith's mouth. I'm just interpreting the situation because the date and timing of this is very important with what we move on to shortly in regard to the new material that has come about. And then this at some point, was there a level of reasoning ability as time went on? Or was it just because it wasn't heat of the moment, this in particular that with time, Robin Smith learning about other perspectives, then changing her mindset on the actual cause of death? Or did this occur before this post? If anyone knows, leave a comment below. But when we move on to the next few slides, there's a very small caption. What you're going to see are screenshots from Robin Smith to Donna Bond. And Robin is asking in regard to a certain location which involves Avery Combs. Post-death Noah Presgrove onwards in the case. It's interesting how Donna Bond, here, there, everywhere, when it comes to, I guess, cooperating with people or reaching out to one another. I believe Donna Bond is kind of a local in the area to some extent. And there's been some other references in the background here and there about Donna Bond, and who knows what can be said. Let's just put it like that. Not negative, no, neutral, but just when it comes to the case itself. Obviously, we've heard Donna Bond when made references about the highway footage from their point of view, what they once saw at a point in time from some material in regard to Noah Presgrove's naked body, no shorts, and I think no shoes, if it's that way round. So it's just interesting. Now, if we move on to this point of view, this is from Facebook Messenger, the DMs. On the left, located in the grey box, is Robin Smith herself, the aunt to Noah Presgrove, and then on the right is supposedly Donna Bond in the purple. And this is in regard to inquiring about Avery and her location at the time, which occurred on September 17th, 2023 at 3:31 p.m. So this is actually earlier compared to the other screenshot of what we were looking at before. And that's why I've done it in the order, kind of like a backwards timeline, looking back retrospectively to give you an idea as to what to expect here, which occurred earlier on in the case, and why Robin did what she was going to do and what she had in her mindset. Because when we move on to the next slide, which is what I showed you before, October 3rd, a month on from Noah Presgrove's death, well, before October, September. This being even closer to Noah Presgrove's death. And the reason why that's important is to understand the theme of what were people of interest and partygoers doing in between September 4th, 2023, the day of Noah Presgrove's death, and then onwards to the 17th. And on this day, specifically speaking, it's to do with Jasmine Millan and Avery Combs. Avery, the birthday girl previously, and the party host. So I can understand the possible motives behind Robin Smith besides the possible cause of death. Like, if you see footage of people having fun, continuing on with their lives, and it's only so many days after Noah's death, it could trigger you, and you could be thinking, you know, my niece, my nephew, my son, etc., in general, cannot move on in life because they're no longer on this earth. But people like you, who are witnesses, who may know more, who are not communicating with me, are moving on in life and having fun. How dare you? So that could be one of the perspectives which Robin may have had at one point. But, you know, you can do it in defence of the party girls and other party goers, where they're trying to distract themselves by having fun to take away the pain of what they're feeling and experiencing. But in the middle, there's a bit of crossfire and a possible misunderstanding where it's leading to different people being hurt in alternative ways. And if this is one of the examples what Sarah Long was referring to in being stalked, harassed, threatened, death threats, damage to property and whatnot, who knows? I'm not saying that Robin Smith is responsible for that, but, you know, the themes of what's mentioned here kind of ties on to what was going to happen later as the months pass by. But before we get any deeper, let's just read what's on screen as part of the conversation at the time. So Robin says, in response to Donna Bond, it's always okay to stand up for what is right, not who has the deeper pockets. I don't know if that's directed at Donna themselves, like, Donna, don't be going in the direction or listening to the people with the deeper pockets. You should be doing what's right, and that's all followed by order and example, like with what I'm doing here. Who knows? But the theme of deeper pockets basically translates to corruption, being paid off, paid to remain silent, aimed at who exactly? People of interest, partygoers, witnesses, or more so the police. But there's no direct link there with the police and the partygoers or family of family with deep pockets, because it just doesn't work, and I'll explain that later on as well, so just be sure to stick around. On this specific date time, Avery Combs, also known as Avery Howard, was at the brewery in Duncan, and Donna says, she drinking? I guess as a question. Robin gives a thumbs up, as in, yes, she was, or they were, and there's a photo. We'll move on to the next slide because it's a bit more zoomed in, and then you'll see it clearer. This is the one. Continued conversation, all occurring on the same day, as you see with the timestamps. Important this when you see the photo because it may have never been seen before. Where is this from? It's social media. Either it's Snapchat or it's Instagram. At first, I thought it was Instagram because I saw the bars at the top, like a timeline of stories, and that's what Instagram is known for. But maybe Snapchat has the same thing. The reason why it makes me think it could be Snapchat is because of the profile picture, top left corner, the photo itself is of like a custom AR generated emoji, one of the person's faces, and that's what Snapchat is known for. And then you've got that little black bar going across the screen with the heart. And I think that reminds me of the, like, similar to the Jasmine Millan party poster 3:41 in the morning, September 4th, saying no, it is missing. So based off the UI interface, it could either be Snapchat or Instagram, maybe more so Snapchat. Either way, it's just, you know, friends, good friends, and party goers previously at that party which Noah attended and then later died, and now moving on in life, hanging out, having a good time based off their facial expressions. I know people in the background, you know, what other people could say. Oh, look at them. They look so happy and full of life. You'd never have known that they are experiencing trauma or being hurt after hearing about their friend or supposed friend who's, you know, brutally died the way they had done. And then other people in the background like Kaden Pressy, trauma, seeking counselling therapy, and then Robin Smith and other, you know, Presgroves family members suffering as well. And yet these people look perfectly fine and happy. But it's one of those things on the outer surface level, when you see someone's face and expressions and what they may sound like, it may not always match what's going on inside of the person themselves. On the outside, they might be having fun, genuinely, but on the inside, deeper down, they're still experiencing pain. So in between, they're doing actions and activities to try and distract themselves, make the most of things with what they've got and whilst they can, without feeling too much negativity. People cope in different ways. I mean, look at Kaden Pressy. When Kaden Pressy, hearing and seeing Noah's body at the highway, whichever timeline you base it off, then coming back to the house, other guys went to sleep, supposedly. Kaden sat there and turned on TV. What? To watch TV like nothing ever happened? Not quite. What, to turn TV on in a very insensitive way? No, just as a distraction in the moment. Bad things have gone on. You don't feel good inside. Memory scarred with what's happened. You need to try and breathe for a little bit. Take yourself away from the bad event. Do something else. That can be in the moment. It can be days, weeks later. And maybe that's what, you know, was happening here. I'm just giving you the for and against arguments so you understand it from not only these people on screen, Jasmine and Avery, but also Kaden Pressy on the day of Noah's death and what Kaden had done. I mean, just remember this. Was it in June or just before June when Kaden Pressy and his family, parents, went on a vacation, you know, to get away from things, to cool off, to try and relax and make the most of life at the time with what's happened before that? Well, if Kaden Pressy is entitled, and family as well, to have a break, to try and breathe in and have fun, relax and whatnot, then surely Jasmine Millan and Avery Combs can do the same, right? Or does it all come down to a certain month of when you're not allowed to, but then later you can, and Robin Smith isn't too pleased with what's going on here? Depends how you look at it, right? Response-wise, Donna says, thank you. And then at 3:45 on the same day, Robin Smith says to Donna Bond, blast her location. Let her know we know where she's at. Now, it might be easy to figure out where someone is at if they are posting publicly on social media. It doesn't take like a lot of work, does it? Unless you started hacking into stuff or you gained trust for a private profile and gained access that way. Yeah, a bit more effort's required. But if it's just a public social media post and then you reach out to them or somehow and you say, hey, we know where you are. Well, of course you will, because it's just a public post. It's kind of obvious, right? If you never mentioned where you actually were publicly, but people said to you, we know where you live, well then, yeah, that can be more threatening and worse. But what's the actual aim of all this about blasting her location, a location which, is it publicly disclosed in the clip or video itself? Hard to tell whether the background shows it or if there's like writing on a wall which could say, here we are today, or, you know, location tag added. If no location was given and it's not clear enough, but somehow you're familiar with the area or what it looks like, and then publicly you will reveal the true location of where they're at, well then it's kind of stepping over the boundary there. I mean, what's the end outcome for this? And did Donna Bond follow through with it or not with Robin's orders? Why is Robin asking Donna Bond to blast Avery Combs' location at the bar, diner, brewery, whatever you want to call it? You get what I'm saying? It's not about blasting location as in where one lives, but more so blasting the location of where they may have gone out to hang out and have a good time. The brewery in Duncan. Is it to just like serve as like a warning to say, hey, Avery, we know where you are or what you get up to. We're keeping an eye on you. Just remember that and sleep with one eye open. And all this can end if you reach out to us and tell us the truth. Not that's what Robin has said herself, but it's just my interpretation of the actions behind it. You blast the location. Where though? Online, in public, and then what does that lead to? Vigilantes and strangers that then act out on behalf of themselves to get justice for Noah. Even if Robin doesn't want that, other people, you know, step over the line as vigilantes, and then is that what had led to the likes of harassment, attacks, damage to property? I wonder, in that particular order onwards. Let her know. We know where she's at. But how come Robin is getting someone else to do the dirty work? Why not Robin herself? Is it because Donna is closer by locally compared to Robin? Does anyone know? What's the next one? September 17th, same day at 4:23 p.m. Time passing by. Donna Bond says, looks like Avery has supporters. Oh, what does that mean? Supporters online or in real life? Robin replies, Renee's daughter is one of her best friends. And Donna says, got the greenies on the brewery. And then Robin says, she has left already. And then Donna says, yes, ma'am. But the fact that a local business is what? Is welcoming people like that into the establishment after what they've done? I don't know. I'm just trying to fill in the blanks with what's lacking here. Interesting. Was there anything else that needed to be acknowledged? The only thing that I will acknowledge is you've got a purple box there, and then below it you've got more of a, what is it, like a violet, and then you've got a blue box. I didn't think the colours of boxes changed with colour within the same, like, messenger on Facebook, unless there's a setting to do so. If anyone can provide a little bit of context there in regard to the different coloured boxes, that's the only thing that does stand out to me. Of course, if Robin Smith wants to give context behind this, welcome to do so in the comment section. I'm just simply interpreting what I see on screen and trying to work out, is it really bad? Has it been misunderstood? For and against arguments. The reference to Renee's daughter, well, Renee Millan, the mother. The daughters are Jasmine Millan, Jade Millan, Stephanie Millan, and two of the daughters did attend the party, Jasmine Millan and Stephanie Millan. When it says here about one of her best friends in this particular photo, on the left is Jasmine Millan, on the right is Avery Combs, also known as Avery Howard. I might start using that name, Avery Howard, so I don't get mixed up with the Carter Combe, because that's a sister to Avery. Jasmine left, Avery on the right. Okay, so that's pretty much it for that. Let me add on my additional thoughts now. So I just wanted to present that to you all in one go first of all, and read it out and try and interpret it at the same time. Now I can go into a bit of a deeper conclusion analysis, and then after that we can acknowledge some additional comments, questions in recent time in regards to other parts of the case. But, you know, you got to understand it from multiple perspectives, of course. I guess we'll start off with Robin Smith first of all, like with what I was saying before, trying to collect it all together. When it's early on in the case, you know, the victim's family, close to the one that's, you know, obviously passed away because of by blood connection, emotional connection, and much more, you're going to be feeling hurt. You don't know what's really going on at the time. You don't have enough answers, more questions. And if there's not as much cooperation on the surface level publicly, and maybe a breakdown in communication too, it can lead to possible frustration. But I'm guessing, you know, from the looks of it, whilst in October, at the start of October, Robin believed it was cold-blooded murder. But before October, in September, what was she thinking then? Probably in this, you know, on the same lines, because, you know, if you're going to be blasting someone's location, exposing them, maybe, or just saying, we're watching you, we know where you are and where you move about, as a form of intimidation. That's how it could be interpreted. Robin Smith, and possibly Donna Bond, if Donna Bond went along with it, methods of intimidation in hopes of making the likes of Avery specifically feel uncomfortable, like they're being watched with every move, in hopes of breaking them down emotionally, mentally, so then they will open up and speak out and reveal the supposed truth. Methods like that probably aren't, you know, the most appropriate thing to do. I mean, it is important to acknowledge that from the light side and the dark side, there might have been methods to make certain partygoers feel uncomfortable. That to a slight extent, the people of interest and partygoers in the case have been the pawns on the chessboard, and then the parents of parents or the guardians and those connected have been making adjustments and movements who weren't even there themselves. Not so much controlling the partygoers completely, not all the time, but getting opposition ones to act in certain ways, or in hopes of getting them to act in certain ways. You know, it could be insulting, it could be forms of gaslighting from any angle or direction. You know, we've seen it previously where those have said, well, Kaden Pressy has been gaslighted by other partygoers' parents or guardians in hopes of getting him to, what, go along with a false truth, or to break down, to say what's really going on, try and get one to slip up. But then from the other angle and perspective, we're seeing to a small extent now, which happened in the past, people from the light side on either Team Kaden or more so Team Noah Presgrove, of course, Noah's own family member, using certain methods supposedly to make another party goer and a possible witness feel uncomfortable and possibly try and intimidate them to try and get them to open up or break down in some way to get a confession, because there's not been enough communication before that. So whilst, yes, it's not a good action, it could be considered a bad thing, what's been done by one of the Presgrove family members, you can also understand that it's happening and they're acting the way they're doing early on is because they feel like maybe there's no other option, there's no other choice. Acts of desperation, desperate times, desperate measures, heat of the moment, raw, early on. And then I guess just the trigger being seeing social media of those partygoers that did survive, that were okay onwards, and then living their best life. But it doesn't directly mean to say that those partygoers are living their best life in here or just inside their body, because on the outside they might be trying to pass time or trying to have a distraction. They might come across as if they're smiling and doing really well, but are they inside? Kind of like how maybe if you look at Kaden Pressy in some interviews or so, he might look somewhat okay, but on the inside, is he okay? And it can differ from person to person at different times throughout the case. So, you might see someone who looks like that they're happy and having a good time, and it's only days after the death of, a person that you're related to. And you'd be thinking, how could you be doing that? Your friend has died and, you're not cooperating enough. How dare you? And then there's that trigger point of wanting to get their attention and say, hey, look, we haven't forgotten about you. And, if you do know more and you're not telling us, we're going to try and get it out of you. So these methods of possible intimidation or indirect intimidation at the time. Did it work though? No. But could it have caused certain partygoers to dispel, disperse, move away, run away, hide from social media to some extent, go a bit quieter than usual? Possibly. So you may have burnt down bridges and possible chances of being able to track or follow people in a more appropriate way, right? And obviously, as time goes on, when people have burnt down bridges with other people, then it's led to less answers, less communication, and less learning. Even if you may not be able to stand someone or feel very suspicious of some people, you might just have to work alongside them for the sake of Noah Presgrove and the long-term aspect of it. But, in this particular situation, we've been so raw and early on, and how Robin Smith felt at the time comes across as if, heat of the moment. And then as time's passed on since, actions have died down and they're not as strong anymore. But it's just done as a form of balance to put it into perspective, right? Because yes, it does come across like Kaden Pressy has been attacked and bad things have happened to him in some way. But is it all one-sided? Is it only Kaden Pressy being attacked and that's unacceptable? And as for the people on the dark side, no one's being attacked there. And what? Oh, if they are supposedly, it's just a lie, it's exaggeration. Well, as we've seen today, there is solid proof, material-based proof, to suggest that certain partygoers have been marked targets, and methods of revealing someone's location, blasting it public or to other people. So then what? Vigilantes now and others, if anyone wants to reach out, a call to arms indirectly, to then go after Avery and harass or attack her. What does that do? Is it the most professional way around a case? Now, would police advise it? Likely not. Could it ruin your own chances of possibly getting justice? Maybe. Let's just say you were suspicious of someone and they weren't talking, but they were having fun and getting on with their life. It's going to piss you off. That's understandable. But if you're going to react in some ways to try and scare them, intimidate them, make them feel uncomfortable, they could then use it against you and then you're double screwed over, or they could just end up running away. And if you scare them off, you may never see them again and you may never see that justice or additional outcome, right? See, in terms of, it just goes to show that both the light and the dark side, as in terms as well with party goers, people of interest, party goers from the light side to the dark side have been impacted in different ways by external people who have been trying to intimidate, harass the party goers in supposedly confessing or breaking down. And that can have its own, I guess, psychological effects with time. It's interesting. But obviously, with a video like this, some people from elsewhere and outsiders could think, oh my goodness, Warlight Ref, how could you cover this? You know, I'm not saying it from my mouth, but other people could be saying, so what if Robin Smith wants to blast Avery's location at the time? So what? She has every right to do so because Avery was the party host who broke social hosting laws and is one of the reasons or the primary reasons behind Noah Presgroves' death and so on. That's what people would be saying. All I'm doing here is doing a video to put it into perspective that it's not just Kaden Pressy getting attacked, but also Avery Combs, Avery Howard is as well. Different people on different ends. You know, Team Kaden Pressy, light side, Avery, and then the others, Team Dark side. But light or dark, both are getting attacked. Are both attacking one another as well? I don't know about that, but, you know, on the outside perspective, general public and or family of family and over time, interjecting themselves with an unnatural force onto one another, people of interest, and it's just not helpful, that. So there's only so much that can be said, and as for that conversation, there's only so much of it. If there needs to be additional updates or context provided in the future, then that will be done so. But yeah, I can understand Robin Smith, how she was possibly feeling at the time and the possible frustration and whatnot. But in terms of that action taking place, not the smartest thing to do, but, you know, you might not be thinking clearly at the time. But then if you've got someone like Donna Bond who may, because I don't see the full context, but if Donna Bond agreed or went along with it, you get what I'm saying. What you need is someone on the outside who hasn't been directly impacted by the death of Noah Presgrove to the same extent as, you know, the victim's family. You need someone on the outside at the time to have been reaching out, or Robin reaches out to that stranger, obviously upset, saddened, frustrated and whatnot. And the mention of, right, I want you to blast this person's location, make them feel uncomfortable, make it be clear and known to the general public who she is or where she's at, so then other people will, I don't know, do stuff to her maybe, or say things to break her down. That stranger should then respond back with, yeah, I understand how you feel now, but blasting her location and whatnot and others and putting others into harm's way isn't going to do much good for yourself. It's not going to do much good for the case of Noah long term. It could push things away and push opportunities away. Yes, it is bad. It's not a good situation right now, and some people could be responsible, and Avery could be responsible. I'm talking as in then, you know, in the moment, you having a conversation with them, cooling down Robin Smith, trying to put things into perspective when it's heat of the moment, so then they don't act out and then maybe later regret it. So it's just putting it into perspective there. Hopefully I've tried making it as balanced as possible. It's not just one party goer that has been attacked, it's a range of different ones over time. That's pretty much it. And in any direction, whether you're innocent or not, you shouldn't be attacked or threatened in that way, because just overall, for the sake of the case, it might ruin the opportunities of the case and the possible justice along the way. And I've covered other cases where general public have tried pushing away certain suspicious people, and I'm thinking, why would you be pushing your possible enemies further away? Shouldn't you be keeping them much closer so then you can keep a better eye and tab on them? and learn and listen in with what could be said and talked about with time. You push them away, you may never see it ever again. It just doesn't seem like a smart idea. And in this particular situation, retrospectively, you can say it's not a smart idea what Robin Smith did, supposedly, from those screenshots. But at the time, you're not going to be thinking clear because you're hurting and things are bad. So I get that. It's different when you look back now. I mean, from then of September 17th onwards, as a question if it can be filled in, if it was followed through with the location being blasted, did it lead to any negative side effects onwards for Avery or Jasmine? Did it lead to any additional attacks, not from Robin, but from other strangers that heard word or news about her or the location, maybe? Did it have a knock-on negative effect? If it did, you can maybe explain or elaborate down below in the comments section. As for comments by people, not in regard to the theme of today, but previous videos that I've done, I'll acknowledge them now, just to let things cool down for a second, and so I can catch up on what recent discussions have gone about. Let's just transition on over right now. So I've just adjusted it to the latest comments, not too many. I'm going to start from the bottom. We've got Skimmed Milk saying, thank you for another great video. Well done, Zip and Slay. So I appreciate that, Skim. So it looks like the Zip trend is up and rising. The Zip going all the way up. And I know for Sharon, she prefers it going down. But you know, it's a roller coaster at the end of the day. I don't think there's any Zip emojis, not quite, unless you include the one with the face. So I'll have to look into that maybe. We've also got Brooke Carter. Had to cut out early. Thanks, Raf, for keeping Noah alive. We appreciate that. So shout out to Brooke Carter, of course, and you're welcome. Still got videos to come with time. We got Sharon there as well. Shout out to Sharon. Positive comments. We got Barry. Welcome, Barry, to the channel. I don't believe there's any question that boy was murdered. And then, we've got lots of orange profile pictures here. AJ, this one, says, except that his injuries of Noah and autopsy don't support murder, and therefore why it is not being investigated as such. And Barry says, that's right, he killed himself. And then AJ, apparently you failed to realise there are other manners of death other than killing oneself and murder, and the injuries and autopsy in this case do not support murder. Oh, we got Gary, right? We got Barry and Gary. Barry. Whee. And Gary says, I don't agree with you. Too much stuff in this case does not add up. And, you know, maybe if you look at it holistically and you try and remember every little detail and switch and change, yeah, things may not add up. I mean, there'll be people with time that were team Kaden Pressy, and then when learning as things have gone on and the discrepancies in between, some people may think, oh, you know, I don't know what to think anymore. And that's understandable. When there's so much like stories and information to try and process, some things are ticked off, some things are debunked, cleared and counted. It can get kind of overwhelming. Barry says, and what manner of death would that be? You think he accidentally killed himself? Okay, so that conversation could continue on at a different point, but at this moment in time of what I've seen, these are the only comments that are present. We got Lisa Mack. Welcome to the channel, Lisa. Thanks for all the great videos and for keeping Noah's story in the public eye. You're welcome. Shout out to Lisa there. We've got Armando insurance policy on Noah, ? So welcome to the channel. I don't think that's ever really come up, that concept of an insurance policy on Noah. If anyone can explain that or react, feel free. We got Skippy. Shout out to Skippy. Here's a different point of view that I didn't see mentioned in chat. In brackets, I'm not making excuses for Alicia Lee. I'm just simply pointing out other perspectives. That's fine. Let's just say, oh my God, it's a bit of a long one. First point made. Maybe Alicia has trust issues. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. And to be honest, Skippy, you could be right. Trust issues. unrelated to the case. Yeah. And this case has exaggerated those issues. Yeah. When someone has major trust issues, they tend to take action which are abnormal, such as recording everyone. I don't condone recording conversations and certainly don't condone sharing them, but I don't have trust issues. There we go. So I'm sure there'll be other people that may know more or have a better understanding, but, you know, I don't know if Skippy is a builder or not, but definitely got a hammer in hand and hitting the nail on the head there. Let's put it that way. You know, other times people may have trust issues and then be overprotective and overcautious, and sometimes it can benefit you, and other times maybe not so much, and other times some people in the background may get caught up in it in a negative way. Another point mentioned here, maybe Kathy Bingham presented herself as being the authoritative voice for Noah's family, and her approach towards Alicia and her family gave Alicia a reason to feel she was untrustworthy. It appears to me as if Kathy interjected herself into the case as a pro bono but inexperienced PI who is determined to crack the case, so she may have been a bit too zealous in the way she asked questions and interpreted potential evidence, such as the mystery video which she said showed someone removing Noah's shorts. Bottom line, Alicia Lee didn't trust the family last year, but as Robin stated, all is well between them. I don't think this is anything of consequence that will help resolve Noah's death, but I appreciate Ref's coverage of all aspects of it and the local personalities involved. Big shout out to Skippy there. Language, wording may even be better than mine, because you see, when I end up talking, I try and make it clear and then I confuse myself. But, you know, Skippy, I guess like 10 times out of 10 is clear and it's easy to understand what they say. What are the responses then? Let's see. EP, or maybe sneaky people expect others to be the same. Jam, all great questions, Skippy. I still have so many questions myself. And in response, Skippy says, of course, it's also a possibility, but my post was to address a point of view that was not addressed in chat. I tried to look at this case and the involved personalities with a neutral perspective. That wasn't always the case, but I tried to maintain my neutrality by looking at all angles. And Skippy, I appreciate you always reading my post. That's all fine. Jam sandwich. Shout out to Jam. Is it strawberry jam sandwich? Hopefully so. You know, we might be having another strawberry added in on top. Wow. They say, thank you for your continued coverage. You're welcome. Shout out to Glenn as well with the thumbs up. Sunny, excellent, Rare. Thank you for never giving up on this. You're welcome. Appreciate that. And then we've got AJ Williams returning once again in response to me, as you'll be aware of. AJ says, laughing my fucking ass off. So, I mean, as a positive to begin with, at least AJ is laughing, and that's a positive emotion and reaction to have. But we'll just read what they say anyway. I hold an MD. I guess that means master's degree. And I am a board certified forensic pathologist? Yeah. I'm highly knowledgeable and trained in the field. Well, good for you. I don't need some whining young kid, in brackets, that probably lives in his parents' basement with no experience or knowledge on the matter to inaccurately tell me what is or isn't more likely as to the events and manner that caused the events leading to Noah's injuries that led to his death. It is funny, though, how you call others whiners, impetuous, arrogant, etc., when you are the poster child for all of above. Some of us actually do hold the credentials, training, knowledge, and expertise to accurately analyse the events, trajectory, etc., that could or couldn't have happened that led to his injuries and the location in which he came to rest. 6 people agree with AJ. Nancy says, congratulations, very professional. In response, AJ, well, considering I'm not here in a professional capacity, I'm free to speak my thoughts as simply a person and individual. So there's that. Amanda, just go away. You give very bad vibes, possible credentials and all. Shannon, thank you for your input on Noah's death. I know you have stated that because of your autopsy report that this is one murder. What do you think happened to Noah? What kind of accident happened? And then Skippy says to AJ, are you talking about Warlight Wrath? If so, there are better ways of getting your point across than to insult the host of this channel. There's no reason to personally insult him or to make demeaning and unfounded assumptions about his living arrangements. Many of us appreciate your expertise, although even experts seem to disagree about what could have happened to Noah. I believe it's better to defend oneself by standing behind your expertise and credentials rather than behind insults. I mean, where to start with first? I mean, the way AJ speaks, I think quite a lot of themselves, which is what it is. But, you know, for AJ to say, I don't need some whining young kid to be talking and whatnot, well, to be called young is a positive towards me. In regard to whining, you know, the tone of the voice of me, myself, does not equate to whining. It would be more so a bit of a higher pitch squeak. You know, like when it came to that Oliver Twist person. And I don't know if Oliver Twist is present now or not, but their profile picture is literally of Oliver Twist with the bowl of whatever in his hand. An example of a whiny voice, AJ Williams, which you're mainly getting at, would be something like,
Oi, mister! Who do you think you are telling me like this? How dare you? This is my channel. I've got control. I can do whatever I want. If I want to turn into a whingy whiner, that's exactly what I'm going to do, you big stiff plum. How dare you treat me like this? Oi, would you like your chimney sweeping? Ever get that feeling of deja vu when we got whiny individuals all about? So high-pitched, it's more whiny than a little mouse. Oh my goodness gracious me, what are we going to do about that?
That is more of a whiny voice. My tone is more monotone, pretty bass line, again, kind of balanced in some ways. That's pretty much it. But, you know, AJ Williams, to throw in the little digs in between their sentences, is very similar to Jan Fiorillo. So Jan Fiorillo and AJ Williams seem to have some things in common. Interesting. The brackets of Warlight Wrath that probably lives in his parents' basement. You do understand, AJ Williams, that when it comes to houses in the UK, they don't tend to have basements. This ain't the US. You know, in the US, you might have basements. You know, like a range of different houses do, and you see those spooky videos online. Don't go down into the basement. Oh, is there a ghost in the basement? Bumps in the night, whatever. The way the houses and buildings are designed in the UK tend not to have basements, not as often. And in this particular living location, no basement exists. So AJ Williams, your observations are completely incorrect there. Okay, you might have a master's degree in your expertise, but you don't have a master's degree in appropriate behaviour and, you know, just general wording. Disappointing, of course, but, you know, it continues on. AJ refers to Warlight Wrath as an impetuous, arrogant individual, as well as the biggest narcissist out there from a previous comment that he's mentioned in the past. So it's great to know that AJ thinks very highly of me, so we'll just continue on with that. More videos to come. And of course, more comments by AJ. It's very likely the possible movement of Noah's leg or body positions was likely VFD. First responders or possible bystanders checking for pulse, checking injuries, and or simply closing his legs to help not expose his naked privates as much. Understandable and not uncommon. But it would come down to the timing of it, of course, and if it does somehow tie in line with anything to do with what's mentioned by Kaden Pressy and the stuff over there, George Choden. And there's still that chatter, screenshots and discussion, whatnot, in response to Jason Nephew attempting to revive Noah, which might also explain shift in body position, etc. See what happens when people come out of the blue and insert themselves into a case and demand their out of the blue version of events be the truth. Ellie is fully aware of what they're dealing with. It's all come out eventually. In regard to a nephew called Jason attempting to revive Noah with CPR, could any of that lead to broken ribs? I best not talk too much or I might get told off for getting things wrong. Oh well. AJ, thanks George. I had not heard of the Jason attempting to revive, but now that I have, yes, that's a possibility too. So clearly we can tell that there are selective attitudes towards different people. It's very evident that. But, you know, speaking of more positive comments and much better humans out there where other people should take a book or two when learning from, Suzanne Williams, a good example of a person. At the minute mark of 11 minutes 25 seconds into the video, I can't hold it any longer. Big hugs to you, Warlike Ref, for your resilience and your fight for Noah. I appreciate that. That's very nice to say. You're probably going to get like love bombed or hug bombed in the chat, maybe. But that's all good. And then other comment here. Shouting from the top of my lungs. Thank you so much, Warlike Ref. We will never lose focus on finding truth and justice for Noah. That's good to see. Big shout out to Suzanne. And then Strawberry as well. Once again. See? Levels of good behaviour, understanding, patience, and positive and neutral, balanced ways. And yeah, all good. Popsky, shout out to Popsky. And shout outs again. And then, here we go. Strawberry says, fantastic video, Ref. You genuinely want justice for Noah. You're amazing. Bringing video night after night. You carry yourself with such integrity and strength. I'm so proud of you, more than you could ever know, and such amazing subscribers and members present. Another big positive comment here by Strawberry. You know, I don't think I'll need Beauty Gurumo for any additional makeup or appliances. I'll just keep reading Strawberry's comments. That will make my face glow in some way. Right, it looks like we've reached the end here. I'll just give you my final thoughts. Now, another important theme I need to refer back to, if I hadn't made it clear enough earlier on, when Robin Smith made a reference about deep pockets. Where did that originate from? Was it Stevie Howard or some other people from the dark side? Some people interpreted it as what Brooke Bounce-Carter said, but Brooke Bounce-Carter did not say it. Brooke only mentioned about a salary that one has, and then other people interpreted it as, well, based off that salary, you have deep pockets. But the reference deep pockets, I guess, tends to have more of a negative connotation attached with it. But if you've got deep pockets, you can buy whatever you want and anything, and you can buy people's silence as well and turning the other cheek different direction. So it might have spread like wildfire, misunderstood at times from the wrong person that said it. I know previously I made a reference about, did Brooke say this or that, which wasn't the case. It was actually Robin Smith that was mentioning about how Kathy Bingham is a good person and has been attacked. I just wanted to clear that little thing up on the sideline. But yeah, about the deep pockets mention, if it was to be applied with members of the dark side and family of certain party goers paying off certain police or authorities, clearly it didn't work, or it just didn't happen. And why? Well, if you got people on the dark side trying to push the hit and run, or at least at the time, push hit and run, as a form of misdirection because they know exactly what happened or who is responsible. Covering for others. You pay the police, hey, hit and run. Keep with that. Stick to it. Don't acknowledge the other stuff. And then what do police do early on? They rule out hit and run. Clearly they weren't paid off. If they went along with it, then there's chances that they could have been paid off, but they weren't. So that's like how I interpret that there in particular. Kaden Pressy, whilst Kaden gives a different timeline, it stands out from other people. And Kaden may have been attacked along the way, but Kaden's still standing strong with what he believes in is the truth. Has Kaden been paid off in other ways? If Kaden is the supposed beacon of truth, which shines brighter than everybody else that comes out with different stuff, you'd think Kaden would be seen as a high-value target that needs paying off, suppressing or silencing. Has that happened in terms of being paid off? No. Has Kaden Pressy mentioned it publicly about being suppressed in terms of being paid off? No. No. Kaden may have mentioned about he's been attacked or harassed or criticised, insulted with words, maybe gaslight, but not physical money being given his way, nor has he mentioned it public. You get what I'm saying? You think people of high value or targets, areas, anyone that's high value in the case, within the case or on the outside, would be paid off in ways to keep quiet. And I've just not really seen that, at least to my knowledge. But the other theme, what I just want to highlight briefly right now, is just that when it comes to today's video and the screenshots, what we looked at, thankfully timestamps were provided in years, which is obviously very important. Does it just dismiss it all because it's in the past and things are different now? Jumping ahead to think that way, well, yes, what's happened in the past has happened. Now things may be a bit better, and actions and methods have changed since, more refined, and what to do and what not to do. But it's still important to say that, like a historical record, it's been documented and it has happened in the past. And other things may have happened since or with other people. You just put it into perspective and say, from the light side to the dark side, people of interest in the case, partygoers, have been attacked in different ways and possibly intimidated or threatened to a small extent, if not greater. What we've seen today with the limited conversation, it implies a form of intimidation, leading to any actual physical, mental harm done. That's unknown of. But if context is provided or needed after, then maybe we can follow up on it. It doesn't look good, but you can also understand in the moment at the time, with it being early on, you might not be thinking as clearly and acting out heat at the moment. What happens after that point? Do things change or get better? I don't know. I mean, I'm still interested to try and figure out the date, time, year of that response by Robin to Brooke about, those partygoers and friends could never do anything like that to Noah. Not possible. Not a murder. Not vicious. Was that before or after the 3rd of October post about it being cold-blooded murder? Which one came first? That's all I would like to know. That aside, let's brush aside the case and talk about some other stuff right now. Move it aside. So it appears in recent time, Beauty Gurumo has not been feeling the best, whether that be the flu, odd illness, or just how things are in the moment. But don't worry, on the spot, Dr. Raf is here, At the end of the day, it's already evident that there are strawberries present. And when it comes to strawberries, they come in pairs. And more importantly, they need to be handled with care. So there are tools present right now, and not the usual typical stuff like this, because out of context, probably not great in the moment. And I'm sure Beauty Gurumo does not quite require this. I'm sure that's not needed, okay? Tim Daniel, watch and listen, take notes, because when it came to that first consultation, you did not show up. Naughty boy. But anyway, first of all, let's just do our daily lick of the glue of the day, because that's what you've got to do. The start of every morning. Not recommended to anyone watching this video. I am a trained professional, or supposedly I am, but if I call myself a trained professional, I'll probably also be falsely accused of being a narcissist. Oh well. So here we are, Beauty Gurumo. We've got some glue here. Yeah, really great. Is it makeup glue? Is it fuck? But it will do. Prit, great to know. So what's the expiry date? Does it actually give one? Oh no, it's made in Germany, so that's promising. That's good to know. it doesn't give a sell-by date, so let's just assume that it's past its sell-by date because it's rock solid. Okay, it's very stiff. Okay. So Beauty Gurumo, welcome into the doctor's office. Yeah, I've got to turn and change my accent up for this so there's no language barriers, you know? Hey there. So what appears to be the problem? A little bit under the weather. That's unfortunate, don't worry. It's all perfectly fine. Beauty by nature, beauty by night, all the time. Whilst maybe the hair is red, trying to represent my robe. How dare you do that? My God, why is your shade of hair better colored than my robe? You're trying to upscale me on my own show? Wow. Anyway, we've got the glue. You want it, Beauty Gurumo? Okay, there you go. Whoa, calm down. Okay, you want to lick the glue? Beauty Gurumo! Beauty Gurumo, oh my God, let go of this. I know you want the glue, but you know, you got to save some for the other homegirls. Come on, Beauty. Ah, there we go. Okay. So, how do you do it? Twist around with the head and... My God, it tastes so bland, petty, but real. I will not be licking that again because I do not want chemicals all over me. And then of course we've got the brush, and not just any brush, but some industrial or kitchen brush. What's that, Sharon? Need a few coatings, painted over it just a little bit, yeah, patch it in. That's all good. So Beauty Gurumo, what this is the healing brush, just a few little strokes and it will take any illnesses away within. Ref 316, blessed. Here we go. 2 for the price of 1, just in case strawberry, you know, the actual strawberry wants some. There you go. Yeah, up and down. And then Beauty Gurumo. There we go. Try not to get it in your eye. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And over there as well. Perfect. Oh my God, brilliant, really good. You can rate the quality of the brush down below if you want, and then tell me if it needs any improvement. Okay, so the healing is done. That's pretty much it. So all in all, my name is Warlight Raf. If you want to share the video, that'd be appreciated. Give a thumbs up. And if you want to catch up recent coverage there. And if you want to drop a comment down below, feel free to do so. That's it for now. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.